So the quadratic equation we know is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And if we want to know what our x values are going to be, so solve the equation, you have to first take into account the zero product property. So what the zero product property says is that if the product of two numbers is 0, then either number or both numbers are 0. So if this times this equals 0, either this has to be 0, or this has to be 0, or they both have to be 0. So a way to prove that is you're going to split your factored trinomial into two groups. So we have x plus b equals 0 and x plus d equals 0, because we know that either this has to be 0 or this. So we're going to set them both equal to 0. If we want to find out what x has to be, we subtract b from sides, so x has to be negative b. And the same thing over here. So x would have to be negative d. And if we substitute that in, it would be negative b plus b equals 0, which is 0, and negative d plus d equals 0, which is 0. Amazing. It works. So, if we were to take the quadratic x squared plus x minus 56 equals 0, we first have to factor it. So we want to find two numbers that add up to make positive 1 and multiply out to get negative 56. And our numbers are going to be negative 7 and positive 8. So because a is 1, we can skip right to the last step. So x minus 7, x plus 8. So now since we know this, we're going to split this into two groups. X minus 7 equals 0, and x plus 8 equals 0. Oops. And I wrote it wrong. There we go. So to solve it, we're going to add 7 to both sides. So x equals 7, and subtract 8. So x equals negative 8. To check this, always check your answers. Sub them both back in. So we're going to substitute in a 7. So we have 7 squared plus 7 minus 56 is 0. 7 times 7 is 49. Plus 7 is 56. And 56 minus 56 is 0. So 7 works. And negative 8 squared minus 8 minus 56 equals 0. 8 times 8 is 64, minus 8 minus 56. And 64 minus 8 is 56. Minus 56 is 0. So it's good practice to check your answers. So for the next example, first question you have to ask yourself is, does this equal 0? If it doesn't, you have to manipulate your equation so that it does. Does this one equal 0? No, it equals 22. So we're going to have to FOIL out these brackets and move the 22 to the other side. So we're going to have to subtract 22. So we get 3x squared minus 18x, 3 times negative 6, plus 1 times x is x, minus 6 times 1 is 6, minus a 22 equals 0. Now we're going to simplify, so we have 3x squared minus 17x minus 28 equals 0. Now we're looking for two numbers that add up to negative 17 and multiply out to get negative 84. Oops, that doesn't look like an 84. And our two numbers are going to be negative 21 and 4. So we have 3x squared minus 21x plus 4x minus 28 equals 0. Split it into two groups. We have 3x as our common factor and 4. So we have 3x bracket x minus 7 plus 4 bracket x minus 7 equals 0. Don't forget to keep carrying down the equals 0. So our last step is x minus 7, 3x plus 4 equals 0. From here, we're going to split it into two groups. So either x minus 7 has to equal 0, or 3x plus 4 equals 0, or both. So we're going to add 7, so x equals 7, and then we're going to subtract 4, so 3x equals negative 4, divided by 3, x equals negative 4 over 3. So let's write those on the side. So now we want to test them. So first we'll test our 7. 3 times 7 plus 1 and 7 minus 6 equals 22. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. 7 minus 6 is 1. 22 times 1 is 22, so this one works. And 3 times negative 4 over 3 plus 1 times negative 4 over 3 minus 6 equals 2. You can type this into your calculator. I'm going to do it all the way through. If you don't know how to do it all the way through, make sure you know how to use your calculator with the ABC button. So we multiply this cancels out, so we have negative 4 plus 1. We want to find a common denominator over here. So we're going to we want to turn 6 into 1 to have a denominator of 3. So we're going to times the top and the bottom by 3. So we have 18. So we have negative 4 over 3 minus 18 over 3 equals 22. So we have negative 3, negative 4 minus 18 is the same as negative 22 over 3. And because these cancel and so does our negative, 22 equals 22. So we know this works. For the next example, we don't have one side equal to 0, so we have to move this 30. We're going to add 30x to both sides. So we have 3x squared plus 30x plus 75 equals 0. Now we're going to factor. We can check for a common factor, and it is 3. So we're going to take out a 3, and we have x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 0. Two numbers that add up to 10 and multiply out to 25 are 5 and 5. So we're going to have 3 bracket x plus 5 times x plus 5. Now, because the insides of our brackets are the same, we can also write it as 3 times x plus 5 squared. So our final answer to solve this question would be x plus 5 equals 0. We don't have another option. It has to be negative 5. There's only one answer. And we're going to test that. So we have 3 times negative 5 squared plus 75 equals negative 30 times negative 5. So we have 3 times 25 is 75 plus 75 equals negative 3 times negative 5 is 150, and 150 equals 150. So this works. Example 5. 5x squared equals negative 20x. First, let's make it equal to 0. So add 20x to both sides. So we have 5x squared plus 20x equals 0. Now, when you have only two terms, and it is not a difference of squares, so that means you don't have two square terms, check to make sure that it's as small as it can go. Always try to make it as small as it can go. So you have to look for common factors. So we have a common factor here. It's 5x. So we have 5x, and what's left in the brackets is x plus 4. Now we split this into 2. So either 5x equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. In order to make x 0 in the first one, we'd have to divide by 5. And 0 divided by anything is 0. So x has to be equal to 0. And for this one, x equals negative 4. So if we were to test that, we would have 5 times 0 is 0, and negative 20 times 0 is 0, so 0 equals 0. And if we had 5 times negative 4 squared, and negative 20 times negative 4, 4 squared is 16, times 5 is 80, and negative 20 times 4 is 80, so this one works. So it's either 0 or negative 4. So example 7, the sum of a number and the square of a number is 20. Determine the number. So we don't know what the number is, so let x equal the number. So the sum of the number, so the number plus something, and the square is equal to 20. So we're going to solve this like we would any normal trinomial. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. So you have x squared plus x minus 20. And I just rearranged it so the x squared was first. Now we want two numbers that add up to be 1 and multiply out to get negative 20. And it's 5 and negative 4. And because a is 1, we're going to go x plus 5 and x minus 4. So to solve this, we want to go x plus 5 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. So x either has to be negative 5 or positive 4. And we'll test it. X is negative 5 plus the square of 5 is 25 equals 20, and 25 minus 20 is 20. And negative 4 plus the square of 4 is 16, oh sorry, positive 4 equals 20, and 16 plus 4 is 20. So both of these work. When you have a word problem, it's really important to check your answers. Sometimes you might have an answer that doesn't really make sense. If we were saying that this word problem was about the number of people in the room, so the number of people in the room is equal to the number of people plus the square of the number of people would be 20, it wouldn't make sense to have negative 5 people. But because this is just asking for a number, both of them work. So just be careful what your word problem is asking you for. When you have a radical, it's going to be the same thing, but we just have to do a couple more extra steps. So your first step is to make your radical on one side by itself, so we're going to minus 4. So we have the root of 6 minus 4, x, just kidding, equals x minus 4. Now, to get rid of a radical, we're going to square both sides. Because that's the opposite of taking the square root of something, is to square it. So on this side, we just drop the radical sign, so it's x minus 6. On the other side, we have to remember to FOIL out our x minus 4. We have to distribute it fully. It's not the same as x squared minus 16. You have to fully multiply it out. So we're going to have x squared minus 4x plus 16. Now we're going to move everything to one side, so we're going to be left with x squared minus 8x plus x, because we're adding x to both sides, plus 16 and minus 6. So our final one is going to be x squared minus 7x plus 10. So we need two numbers that add up to be negative 7 and multiply out to get 10. And our numbers are negative 4, 5, and 2. Both of them negative. So you have x minus 5 and x minus 2. Now, when you have a radical, you absolutely every time have to check your answers. So we have x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0, x equals 5, or x equals 2. Every single time you have a radical, you absolutely have to check your work. So we have the square root of 6 minus 5 plus 4 equals 5. 6 minus 5 is 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. So 1 plus 4 is 5, and 5 equals 5. This one works, so this is one of our answers. If we check this one, 6 minus 2 plus 4 equals 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, which does not equal 2. So this doesn't work, and this doesn't work. So x minus 5 is our only answer that satisfies the equation. X equals 2 is an extraneous root. It's a number obtained in the process of solving an equation that does not satisfy the equation. So we solve and we find it, but it doesn't actually satisfy the equation. So x only equals 5.